Hey there, this is Patrick. Welcome to the Client Success Secrets Show. This is the show that is trying to debunk one question. How can we deliver greater results for our clients at scale without spending all our time doing one-on-one or hiring a big team to do the fulfillment for us? In today's show, this is episode 4, I'm going to be talking about email. So in section 1, I'm going to be talking about, are you using email for your client success? If you're not, this is time you do it, but not in the usual way. So section 2 is going to be about what I'm working on this week. As you probably know by now, I am walking you through my journey, going from $0 to $300,000 in revenue as a business coach. The third section of today's show is going to be Comeback Coaching in Action. So Comeback Coaching is the name of my framework that helps you turn unsuccessful clients into raving fans who get results using your frameworks and grow your business profitably and sustainably and ethically. So let's get started. Now, I want to talk about email a little bit. I think it has been a theme for me this week, and it made a lot of sense to see how it affects client success. So just to give you a quick start, what email marketing looks like, let's start with the marketing side of things, is sending follow-up emails. So you will have somebody opt in to your funnel. You're going to get their email somehow, and you're going to start sending nurturing sequences that are going to warm them up, right? So they made it first, minor commitment, and then you have to nurture them further, getting to know you and your world, what you stand for, your service. And finally, they're going to move to the next step, which is making a purchase. But then there is something that I've always thought about. This is a question that always comes to me every time I learn a new marketing strategy. And that is, how can I use this strategy for client success? What is so fascinating is that marketing is all about persuading a person to take a step forward. That is what marketing really is, at least ethical marketing. But what a lot of people overlook, what a lot of marketing experts, business owners, and coaches, what they overlook is that the very same persuasion tactics and strategies that they're using to move people from stranger to client can also be applied at the client level. So that's the next section, the next area of the client journey, where they've already purchased your thing. And I'm not talking about a low ticket offer like a $37 ebook. I am talking about your high ticket offer, where you'll be charging maybe $1,000 for your course or $5,000 for your group coaching program. That is what I'm talking about, the next step after that. What's curious is that email marketing can be used in that way as well. So the way I learned this was many years ago. I joined a course. I'm sure I brought this up before, this specific course called Automated Income Machine. It was about turning your knowledge into an online course that sells itself. And this sounds like a very worn out idea, but at the time there were not too many companies doing that. As a matter of fact, I remember taking this course in 2019, and this whole idea of grabbing a newbie and help them turn their knowledge into online courses was not so widespread like it is today. So at the time, again, it seemed like a new idea. I joined the course to build my course, and I noticed this thing about their email, which was so great. You may have heard the term fulfillment emails. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. So, but the problem is that sometimes many of these emails, I've seen marketing experts use this strategy for fulfillment because the whole point is to get people to show up. So they're going to receive a message with a link. They're going to get into their members area and start consuming content. And these little reminders actually can make a big difference between those people who don't take any action and those who do. And the reason why is that life just happens. So I'm not the kind of person who puts the blame on the client, never. But I understand that people could get distracted, that things get in the way, life happens, unexpected things happen. And we are terrible at prioritizing because of the society that we live in. We live in a state of constant anxiety and urgency and overwhelm. And seriously, it can be difficult to focus. So what these fulfillment emails did for automating the machine was to feed me with an email every week. The course was supposed to be a 12 weeks program, self-paced entirely. So I would get an email every week that was revealing the topic of that week. Said, okay, so this week is about audience research. So they will give me some solid like bullets showing what I was going to learn. So, getting people excited, using a good hook, not only to open emails, but for people to actually, get hooked again to go into the members area. And then give it a go. And then even you can put like, they were putting some sort of image hook, like a thumbnail of what the video looks like. These days with technology, you can insert GIFs inside the emails and it will look like there's a video playing, even if it's just a GIF. And that's it. And honestly, that alone provided so much accountability for me. It was like, I knew that another email was going to come next week. It's almost like having a meeting, but at scale, right? That's what's so fascinating about utilizing fulfillment emails in this way. However, there are lots of experts who use email in a very dull and creative way. All they do is to send you an email saying, with a one-line hook saying, go to the members area and start watching the content. That doesn't help. To me, you have to get creative. And even though it may look like extra work, it's something that you do once. I mean, that's the magic of email marketing. You build things once, and then they continue running over because the sequence is already set and it's going to trigger at the time that you need it. And again, it was working not only as a reminder, but also as that type of accountability. It's almost like having your coach. I know sounds pretty crazy, but it feels that way a little bit. If somebody is really good at writing emails, and I bet you are, or you have somebody who is, take the time to write good copy on those fulfillment emails, set up a sequence that makes sense, then deliver it. I had a problem though with this strategy. Not really the strategy, but more like the execution of the strategy. The biggest problem, maybe the only problem about these fulfillment email strategies that you may have seen somewhere else is the unrealistic timeline. So this is a very, very big problem. Handling expectations is key to understanding and delivering client success. What I mean by that is most online programs for courses for marketing or group coaching for marketing, they tend to promise a lot in a very little amount of time. In my opinion, completely unrealistic. For instance, if you're targeting newbies, this is like a make it or break it thing. If you're targeting newbies, you can't realistically promise that they will get results in 8 weeks or 12 weeks or even 16 weeks. It definitely doesn't work. As a matter of fact, just to give you a real life example, I have the automated income machine was a 12 weeks program. So you were supposed to go from newbie to having your own online course done and ready to go in 12 weeks. Can you guess how long it took me to finish that course? Because I did finish it. I would like to say 12 months, but when I look back, it was actually more than 12 months. I started on May of 2019 and finished on July of 2020. That's 15 months. Taking the time, and I was really dedicated to this, I'm not kidding, to making the time of building an entire online course from scratch. Later on, I discovered that there are way more efficient and effective ways of building an online course. I built everything from scratch, including videos, worksheets. Everything was edited properly. I built out a funnel. I ran advertising, like I did everything. But that was not the right way, definitely not. Now I know better. Back to the biggest problem here. When your program doesn't promise a realistic timeline, those fulfillment emails stop working. So you have a fantastic strategy in the wrong format. What you need to do instead is promise something more realistic. How do you do that? Well, we're going to explore that on section 3 of Client Success Secrets Show episode 4. So keep watching. Now let's talk about section 2. And speaking of emails, this week I built my webinar email sequence in 2 days. And honestly, I'm so thrilled that I did it. Email is something that I have a hard time dealing with. I am not really sure what it is. I'm not excited. I overthink it. I think always about the tech and how difficult that is. But I had a great opportunity that I shared last week where I took up Russell Brunson's promise of giving me an entire webinar funnel pretty quickly. And I decided to go down the path. So I built my funnel. I already have it. It's just a matter of testing it, testing the tech. That's one of my biggest worries, probably. And I also got the templates for the email sequence. And I said, oh, this is brilliant. This is one thing I would have procrastinated because it's so unmotivating for me. So what I did was to get the email sequence and started editing. I had a concern. I had a roadblock. I hit a roadblock when it comes to the tech, which was very annoying. I must tell you, this may be just my case, but you want to hear it. And ClickFunnels 2.0, it seems that it doesn't work too fast always. It can have a lot of buffering and loading, which is actually super annoying. And once I was editing the emails, I was going back and forth a lot, and things were loading and loading and loading. And then I had to scroll down a bit, and then things continue loading and loading. So editing every email took me forever, seriously. And then once you are in the email editor, you have to also consider that the thing is constantly saving itself, like cloud style. And you also have to click on the save button because you have things saving, but things not publishing, whatever. There's that distinction. I'm not sure they had a good reason to do that, but honestly, it was super delaying everything. So tech-wise, that was a very big and annoying effort. So I could have given up. I could have said, you know what, I think I can just get away with not writing the emails. And I also could have gone down the path, eliminate any excuse and just use my goodwill, my willpower to push through the obstacle. So that's what a person that is bold would do, and I am. But I decided to make a twist to this. And what I did was to take all those emails. It took me a little bit of time, but I think it was a very smart move. I took all the emails and copy-pasted them onto a separate document. I opened up a Google Doc, and then I entered into each email one at a time, and I copied the entire content onto the Google Doc. Why would I do that? Well, it turns out that a Google Doc is something that doesn't require the same bandwidth as running the entire ClickFunnels software, which, as I established, was not working fast enough. It was really slowing things down for me. So that's what I did. Once I had everything in there, it only took me 3 visits, 3 sessions of copywriting to finish those emails. It may have been I didn't even reach 3 hours working on the emails. So here's what I did. I would visit the Google Doc, and I would start using I know I'm getting nitty gritty about this, but honestly, if you want to get creative about using your framework or having other people using your framework the most efficient way, you have to learn these little study tricks. If you empower your clients with these study tricks, or if you do them yourself, you're going to get way better results. You're not going to get stuck. So again, nitty gritty. I used the function replace so that every time a certain word or set of words came up, I could instantly replace it with something else. It's crazy. So as you know, in a template, you will have some words that are going to stay as is, and then in brackets, you're going to have something that you're supposed to fill in with your own idea. For instance, if you there's going to be a point in the template emails that you're going to see name of your program, or your name, or your sign off line, or your audience's desire, or your audience's pains, or your audience's objections. So good templates are built that way. The structure is given, a proven structure is given. All you got to do is plug in all your things. That's why templates are so powerful. So what I did was pretty crazy. I used the function replace, which honestly is probably one of the oldest functions in the whole like Microsoft suite package, or the Google apps, including Google Docs. Like, it's a very old function. So all you gotta do is, find this replace button, and you have to, on top, write what you're looking for, and right below it, what you want to replace it with. So once you fill out those fields and click the replace all button, you will be able to save a lot of time, an insane amount of time, by replacing everything. So to give you an example, I put on the top box of the replace all like dialog box, I put name of your program. And then right below it, I put Comeback Coaching Partnership. That's the name of the program that I will launch during the webinar. And with the click of a button, every time the template was saying name of your program, it instantly turned into the Comeback Coaching Partnership. So that's brilliant. I mean, it's not really to like pretend that I'm best, but I am the best. So it's like nothing, but people like your clients will love those little tricks. Not so little, because you're saving a ton of time. So then I continue using that replace function to continue filling the template fast. For example, every time it said your name, I will replace it with Patrick, your comeback coach, and so forth. Obviously, that trick only could work so far. I wouldn't just blindly, let the template fill itself entirely doing that, but it really saved a ton of time. But the next step was, inside the Google Doc again, go through each and every one of the emails. So at the end of it, I had everything ready in a single document. So the last step was just to open up ClickFunnels again. I'm not gonna lie, I had to put up with those, buffering and loading screens a lot, but this time it was a lot easier. All I needed to do was copy and paste from the Google Doc onto the email, the particular email that I was using in the email sequence, or the follow-up funnel. So that was genius. And I was literally like blown away. And at the same time, as I was reading those emails, plugging my own things, I said, wow, this sounds so persuasive. Like, I would totally buy my own program if I was reading those emails. Like, they sounded so authentic, so believable. They clearly spoke to a certain pain. They positioned me as an authority. They offered the right kind of ethical urgency. Like, I was so happy. Something that I was struggling with, which was simply just getting started with emails, turned out to be something like a breeze. Like, I had a good time doing this. And this is also a lesson for you and anyone unmotivated in your marketing programs, that no matter how unmotivating a task can seem, you can always, find a way around it. This is teaching your people resourcefulness. They will be able to grab your framework, make up their own shortcuts, and get it done. And the reason why this is so important, obviously, the number one reason is that your clients will get through your program and will get results. That's a win for everybody. That's the most obvious thing. The second thing is that they are taking charge of their own journey. They are developing. They create the problem solving. The more they develop that skill, the less support they're going to need from you. In other words, they are in charge. They are getting out of their way. They are getting themselves unstuck without your help. That's what we're really building, people. You may have an amazing framework, and you may be tempted to do a lot of one-on-one, to just be there and push people, but sometimes it's just not going to work. You don't want to create that dependency with your clients. They will have to grow, and not because you're an arrogant, you know, like jerk, basically. You are betting on their growth. They will become more resourceful, more self-sufficient. They're going to get way better results with less support. Isn't that amazing? So I'll be glad if you start teaching, these resourceful strategies to your clients. But now let's continue talking about email a little bit more. Section 3 is combat coaching in action. So if urgency can motivate your prospects to buy, then it should also motivate your clients to take action with your framework, creating greater results. So let's do some digging into this. In the first section, I talked about email marketing and email fulfillment as a strategy to deliver greater results for your clients. Now, let's take things to the next level. If you structure your course in a very particular way, you'll be able to create a sense of urgency for them to take action. So what this looks like is that you will tell your clients that in order to complete that they are going to have a limited time frame to complete that step that they're working on. Call it audience research, call it creating an irresistible offer, call it setting up their Facebook group. Give them a specific timeline. When you're giving people a specific timelines, they are not going to stretch. And by stretching, I mean dragging the task. You're not going to be dragging the task. You're going to remember that there is a limited time. It's not about fake or authentic urgency. It's about telling them, look, I am holding you accountable to finish this in 1 week. And how do you do that? With email. So the big mistake that we addressed in section 1 was unrealistic timelines. So what you're going to do instead is look at your program and imagine that you are going through your own program yourself and say, what is realistic when it comes to getting this done? What is realistic? So if you know you're targeting, if you know that some or a lot of your clients are beginners, you will want to set a timeline that is much larger than you think. So if you have a 12 weeks program, you're going to no less than double the time. So now you're going to tell me, Patrick, if I make promises that drag on for so long, less people are going to sign up. And to that, I'm going to answer this. If you break down your framework, your process, your course into smaller portions, people will get results quickly because they're going to start, step, and finish it. And that alone is going to increase the client satisfaction. And here's a myth that I need to break for you right now. Results doesn't always mean getting to the finish line. Getting to the finish line looks like making their first sale, making their first 10 sales, earning a 6-figure income, quitting their 9-to-5 job. Those are super big, bold promises. And a lot of people take years to get to that point, and that's fine. The problem is that, and I've suffered this a lot myself, when you start to feel, when you are in the entrepreneurial journey long enough and things are not working out that well, you have the tendency to assign progress as that progress is only numbers. If you don't have a certain amount of followers, you are a failure. If you didn't make a certain amount of sales or a certain amount of money, you're a failure. You're not making any progress. If I don't see your bank account grow, you're not making any progress. That is how I felt for a long time. And that's what a lot of experts, spread. Like, it's a very, very negative and toxic concept. It is. And I've seen it a lot, even from people who I really admire and respect. They are, planting this idea that no numbers, you're nobody. How do I get to this? Okay. So realistic goals and client satisfaction. If somebody joins your program and you tell them, look, this first step should take you 7 days to finish. they have that deadline. When they have a deadline, they have a certain amount of time to finish it, and they will want to meet you there, so to speak. By meeting you there, I mean that they're going to get another email after 7 days saying, "Did you finish? Are you ready for the next step?" So the twist that I wanted to add to this fulfillment email strategy is that you're going to engineer your deadlines in a way that is more realistic. So if you used to tell them that they could build a course in 30 days, you're going to tell them, look, I'm giving you 2 months for this. You will get another email in 60 days saying, did you finish your course? Do you need help? What did you struggle with? Even more so, you could send another email in the middle saying, hey, I know we're halfway through our deadline. Where are you at? Are you doing great? Do you need help? Like, you will want to, a lot of people say, good email marketers say that emails should feel like you're talking to the person directly. That's where the accountability comes from. That's what's going to make your people feel supported, even if you're not there. Why not do the same for your fulfillment? Take the time to write them well, set a realistic timeline for them to achieve what they're supposed to achieve, and open the floor for them to ask you questions, for them to ask for help, and then have the resources available for them to do it. WhatsApp group chat, Facebook community, client success manager. I'm not a big fan of those. And the reason why is that I believe that marketing experts like yourself resort to hiring a little too quickly. And you should take advantage of this client success at scale strategies. And that's what you do. And I think part of the problem too, I'm going to leave you on this last note, is that we tend to ignore that people are going to have problems. We tend to ignore that people could fail. And I see why. Failure is not something nice to talk about. Talking about failure is something that kills sales. It's something that could kill motivation. It's something that could kill hope. No joke. I know that. And this is a very uncomfortable topic to talk about. But the more we deny and ignore failure, the more failure we're going to get. And by failure, I don't mean people giving their all and not getting the expected outcome. That is not the failure I'm talking about. The failure I'm talking about is people who don't bother trying because it's not worth it. The people who get stuck, don't get help, and end up quitting. That is the bad type of failure. So what you're going to do, as an ethical marketing expert that you are, is to acknowledge failure. Failure exists. Failure is very real. And talking about failure is not going to bring more failure. It's going to teach your students that it is normal, that is not a reason to be ashamed of, and then they can get over it and still move forward. So that's it for tonight. I am very grateful that you showed up to the session. I look forward to seeing you to our next session. Client Success Secrets, the show runs live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And shortly, in a very, very close future, this show is going to go live on YouTube as well. So I just can't wait to see what we're going to create together, and see you next time. Bye-bye.